Hey there, and welcome to the Lighthouse with Elijah Lee. And this is a bit of a special episode because we are, after all, doing our first filmed recording. And I'm super excited. This is going to be a big episode. And I kind of wanted to get off a bit of heavier topics and hit something a little bit lighter. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's an interesting little thing I'm doing here. But we're taking a book that maybe some of you know, and I'm going to compare it to the last presidency. And I might even start a series on this, just comparing books to presidencies and books that almost predicted a presidency. And I think it will be a lot of fun and it'll be educational, and it'll help us also understand politics a little bit better, but also kind of like tying in what you read to what's actually happening. And authors they have an interesting foresight into what's coming in the future. And I don't know if the author of the book we're talking about today, if she was predicting anything for America, but uncannily enough, she did end up actually doing that. So today we're going to look at that, and I'm super excited. I hope you'll tag along and stay for the rest of the video. Please make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you're following the content because I've got new stuff coming out all the time. This is The Lighthouse with Elijah Lee. So, here is the deal. I read a book a while back. It was about 2 years ago. And the book is The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen. Now, in this book, it's not exactly fantasy, because there's not really magic, but it is that medievally kind of feel. This is the book right here, The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen, and I love this book. This book's really great. I really, really enjoy it. It was the New York Times best-selling book. It's very critically acclaimed. It's a great book, and it was written in 2012 by Jennifer A. Nielsen. Now, the concept of this book is super important to understand what I'm about to say. So, imagine a kingdom called Carthia, and in this kingdom, there are always nobles constantly vying for power. The story kicks off with a ruthless regent, Connor, and Connor picks up our protagonist from an orphanage, along with 3 other boys from different orphanages. Now, the protagonist of this book is named Sage, and Sage is a super interesting character, and I really enjoy reading. The book is from his perspective, and he is so witty and just the energetic kind of guy. He's so much fun to read about, and his point of view is so different from everyone else's that it's just frankly one of the best point of views I've ever read. So that already made me start enjoying the book. But beyond just like how good the protagonist is, the storyline, the dialogue, all of that is exceptional. So what happens after Connor picks up Sage? Well, it turns out that the royal family was totally assassinated. And Connor, the man who picked up these orphans, is attempting to find some orphan boys so that they can stage as the long-lost Prince Jaren to bring back the country. And Bevan Connor wants the country in his hands, but the kids do not know this until a bit later in the book. I will attempt to keep this spoiler-free. It's going to be a little hard, so I would just let you know the spoilers coming up. But basically, the goal of Connor is to take these orphans and train them in royalty and arts and things a prince should know, and also teaching them how to be like the Prince Jaren was before he died. So that's the entire length of this first book, is him training the boys. It's super hilarious, and it's really great. It's very interesting, keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's a big page turner. I love reading, and this book just totally captured my attention. So I was really loving it. Now, about the time I read it, I have a friend, and he kind of got me into this, just wanting to study everything out and not just take everything we see off the news. I mean, whether it's right wing, left wing, whatever media it is, not just taking that and going with it. I've talked about this. There's a narrative to that, and they want you to just see what they wrote. I don't care which side of the political spectrum you're on. That's how it is. So always going into detail, right, about the news you see. It's a good thing to do, and he got me into that. So that intrigued me, and so I would always talk to him. I love talking to him. It's very interesting. He's got some pretty crazy theories. And so I just spent a lot of time talking to him when I was around him. And at the time, Biden was president, and he was of the firm belief that Biden was not the one running the country, which we've seen his cognitive decline, which I'll be getting into all of that very soon. But at the time, it was very compelling, but also I didn't want to believe it because that was really scary. The fact that the man America voted in was not actually leading the country. And that scared me quite a bit. So, obviously, I didn't want to believe it. So I was reading this book, and I come across the part where Connor, this royal, is taking these boys, and he's trying to turn them into a false prince. And when they go to court, and the head of that nation, Carthia, and they're gonna look over these boys, and the boy is supposed to convincingly act like the prince. And the whole time when they think it's the real prince ruling, it's actually not. That's Connor's idea. Each boy has his reasons for wanting to be chosen. Right? Power, prestige, they all want to be chosen. But only one, at the end of the day, is chosen. And the others who know about this plot, Connor never really says it outright, but he's going to kill them. They cannot live with this secret. So, our protagonist, Sage, realizes that Connor does not want only for the king or the prince to come back. He wants to rule through this boy. And so, what does he do? He plays his own game on Connor, who's already playing his game against him. So, Sage has fun with it. And that's a very sagey thing to do. So, he kind of messes up things, does things Connor doesn't like, and yet, in the end, you still love him. You're still like Sage is the best. And so, aside from good writing, right, this story is really intriguing. It's a very interesting idea. There's a creepy close parallel to the theories I had been told. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go a bit more into this. And I'm going to study this. Lots of podcast listeners are also audiobook listeners. They're book readers. And I thought, this might be something interesting to look into. I myself am a big book reader. And so this was interesting to me as well. And so I was like, I'm just going to go into this a bit and see, comparisons, metaphors, analogies I can find with the false prince to Joe Biden's presidency. Because, I mean, was he really that present? Right? Was the guy we voted in, was he really the president? Or who was actually leading the country? Now, when you read this book, you know it's Connor. You see that from the very beginning. But right now, do we know who was leading the country during the presidency of Joe Biden? Do we really, honestly, truly know that? Now, it's kind of hard because, as you know, like, his physician pled the fifth. I think there's been two more officials after that pled the fifth. So, which you can look that up. You can fact check me on that. But I I believe that is it. So that's 3 people who pled the fifth that know about this. They know information, and we are not getting it. And that's a little scary. Not a good place for America to be. No, some say it's easier to live with your head in the sand. If you don't know the bad things out there, then you don't feel affected by them. But if we truly had known who was leading the country, would we have been scared out of our wits? Now, some were already scared out of their wits for Biden being the president, and some were scared out of their wits when Kamala ran. So, if it wasn't Biden leading the country, who was? Who really holds power is the question. I've already showed you kind of comparisons, and so let's look at the Joe Biden presidency through the lens of this book and see if anything lines up well enough. During Biden's final days in office, there was widespread use of an auto pen, a machine that replicates a president's signature to sign executive orders and clemency actions. This raised serious constitutional and legal concerns, which I understand. Not just among conservatives, but there were liberals calling this out too. And really, there should be no political party, one being really mad, one shouldn't be. If a president's using an auto pen on highly important things, a president we've already seen is declining mentally, sure, if someone else used an auto pen that was working completely like 100% mentally, then okay, maybe I can understand, just a little busy, wants to use the auto pen, getting a little lazy. But a person who mentally, like coming to debates, was not prepared, someone who couldn't say words, was forgetting like where they were, who they are, what they had for lunch 2 minutes ago. It's a little scary when it's not them signing it. Then, yeah, raise concerns, because we already have the proof that this dude is not completely there, and now it's not even him signing his own orders. So what's going on here? If the president isn't physically signing these documents, then who is? And if he wasn't fully in control due to reported cognitive decline, we've all heard. At this point, we have all heard about his cognitive decline. If we didn't hear about it, we heard it straight out of his mouth, because he failed to say, like, sentences that were coherent. Ever. It was hard. It was really hard watching it. Like, I remember watching, before Biden dropped out, his and Trump's debate. And I was sitting there. It was hard to watch. Like, the whole golfing part of that debate, like, what are we doing? Like, this is the point it got to. And, like, neither candidate was super smart for starting that. But, like, still, Biden trying to defend how good of a golfer he is, it's, like, really hard to take. And he was just suffering that evening. He was just suffering a lot. So it was hard to watch. And we were watching that cognitive decline. So we all had to ask the question, were unelected officers running the show? Was it really Biden? And this isn't just speculation. Congressional investigations have focused on whether Biden's mental fitness allowed him to fulfill his duties. His own physician, like I stated earlier, refused to answer questions before Congress about his health status. Meanwhile, President Trump signed a memorandum calling for an investigation to whether anyone conspired to hide Biden's mental state from the public or improperly exercised presidential powers using tools like the auto pen. Trump also declared his last-minute pardons to those like Fauci or some family members. He declared those completely void and vacant. So, again, everyone's getting mad at everyone at this point, right? Some people are saying Trump does not have the power to declare those void. And some are getting mad that Biden's using an auto pen. Or, like, is Biden actually using the auto pen, or is, like, someone else using the auto pen? And so everyone's getting mad at someone else. I think first, we need to look at first things first. Okay? Because Biden was not totally there, so we should all be worried if an auto pen is being used. Then, Trump. Is there really leeway for him to do that? Well, it's not super well covered ever, like if the use of an auto pen is like illegal or not. But I will say, like, JFK used an auto pen, so nobody really got super mad about that. So I don't know, maybe not the smartest move, but at the same time, it's also not the worst move, because we don't have proof that it was actually Biden signing those pardons. Like, okay, if the president signs them, don't declare them void. But if it's not the president, the person we elected into office, well, I say we, but we kind of didn't. If that's the person that's signing them, that's okay. But if they're not, well, then we had better be worried about that. We had better be worried, America, if someone else that was not voted in is leading the country. We had better be very worried about that. Now, legal experts have testified before Congress that this kind of delegation risks divorcing presidential authority from actual presidential oversight. When you can load up an auto pen with someone else's signature and start signing away on behalf of America's highest office without clear documentation or accountability, well, that sounds more like something out of fiction than reality. And does it not? Does it not? Because it's the same thing in the false prints. When they thought one person is ruling, they're actually not, and there's someone back there pulling the strings. That sounds like fake, and yet that's what we're confronted with right now. That's what America's seeing right now. And it's very, very creepy. It's very creepy. Possibly more creepy than Biden sniffing people's hair. Like, it's up there. Like, it's pretty close. I don't know what's more creepy, that or his hair rolling up in summer, but that's beside the point. The point is that the country needs a leader, not someone who's voted in just so they could be a puppet. And people saw this coming. They saw this coming. And listen, just get this out of the way. You guys did not. His cabinet did not cover up his decline. Okay, can we just be clear on that? We all knew, we all knew this dude was not home for a long time. So he took so many vacations, and he couldn't get off the stage. So clearly something was off, and we all saw it. So what's the takeaway here? I see this as more than just procedural nitpicking. It goes straight to questions about transparency, accountability, and whether our leaders are truly fit for office. If you've got a president whose aides limit his public appearance because they're worried about how he'll come across, if you've got documents being signed by machines instead of people, it starts looking less like democracy and more like something out of the false prints. So, as Americans, as the people, what do we do about this? You say Biden's out of office. He's not signing documents anymore. You know? It's not like we need to hear from him. His aides aren't keeping him out of the line of fire or anything. He's done being the president. Okay. But if the American people, if we were all just totally beguiled and there really was someone pulling the strings and it wasn't the president, then we deserve to know who was doing that, We deserve to know why. And we need to do the due process to make sure that everything that was done by that person who's not president is changed and reversed. Because they had no right doing what they were doing. And whether it sounds crazy, do I sound mad for saying that? Maybe to some. But hey, this is America. This is the land of the free. And it's a people's country. The people make the choices. And if they choose and elect someone, that is their right. And you are not supposed to take it away. And that is the beginning of a socialistic country, when the person you elected is not the person leading it. Because that is someone who forced their way into the government. And that is scary. Because as of now, America is a democracy. Capitalistic. We do not want to be socialistic. When we do that, we are preparing for the decline of the global superpower. The country that determines what other people do. The country that affects the world on a daily basis. I'm talking about stocks, things we produce, our language. Like, if you just think of like one small thing, the film industry. We produce so many films per year. We are a country that affects lives every day all across the world. And we've been blessed by God to have that. But if we go off track from what we were, if we go off track from what we are right now, then danger is only closer and imminent for America. When we do our job as the people, we had better reap what we sowed. And even if I make a mistake and I vote for the wrong person, I still want that person to be the one leading office and not someone I never voted for. Not someone I never even expected to be leading the country. People were complaining about Elon Musk. You know, he's an unelected official, but he's still ruling. Guys, listen. Donald Trump said Musk would be in his cabinet, and we voted for Donald Trump, and we knew exactly who was going to be on that cabinet. As for this complicated situation with Biden's last term, we didn't exactly know that they were planning on just making him a puppet. We were never told of that. We just voted. And I would have preferred it had been Biden ruling than someone else. Now, to summarize this, we have just compared a presidency to an eerily similar book. So, how can we not repeat the past? The Biden presidency is behind us. That puppet organization is gone, for now. Well, moving forward, we make better choices. Just the way it's gotta be. We make sure the person leading the country is the person we elected. Don't let someone else make the choice that is yours to make. So make yourself known. Listen, when it comes to vote, you vote, use that power. Listen, you have free speech. The First Amendment. Free speech. Use it. It's very, very important that you use free speech. Because that is the sign of a free country. When the people can say whatever they want and not get beat down for it. So, if you see something off, let us know about it, right? And keep that fresh in our minds. So we saw this with Biden's presidency, and so now it's just time to do things about it. And maybe he's not in office now, but we still deserve to know what was going on at that time. So I think it's important that we as Americans remember this, we keep this fresh in our minds, and moving forward, we make better decisions, not trying to repeat the past and not trying to make fiction fact. The world is very crazy, but I am much crazier. I hope you enjoyed the first filmed episode for The Lighthouse. I have a big announcement. Our first guest is coming on very soon. I'm very excited about that. I want you guys to meet this awesome guy, and I think you're really going to love it. I'm super pumped. I'm really stoked for it. So I hope you guys will join us for that. But until then, have a great rest of your week, and God bless the USA.